we're going to do a review of Mac DeMarco's Here Comes the Cowboy. Yeehaw!
Mac DeMarco is a Canadian singer-songwriter. Has nothing to do with cowboys. He's also a multi-instrumentalist, indie rock, and jangle pop artist. He's best known for his really frail, passionate voice that just oozes with character and cigarette smoke. Albums like Choo in 2012 and Salad Days back in 2014 were a little rough around the edges, but they had some really great tracks like Ode to Viceroy, Freaking Out the Neighborhood, My Kind of Woman, Passing Out Pieces, and of course, most popular, Chamber of Reflection. One of my favorites. Mac really followed through and matured on his last release in 2017, This Old Dog, or whatever you called it, My Old Droog or something. Your Old Dog.
No, I put in the show notes, his last release, 2017's This Old Dog, or as Vincent's been calling it recently, Our Old Dog. I thought it was called Our Old Dog, because it's My Old Man.
We were talking about Your Old Droog, and you called it Your Old Dog.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. That makes sense.
It showcased a lot of like deeper emotional topics, mostly about the relationship of Mac and his estranged father, who left him as a child but is now dying. Was dying. He's probably dead now. But
you said that with like the up for amount of positivity. Like that was just like.
I mean, he is now. Mac recently rekindled, or at least kind of reconnected with his father, and made an album about it with really great tracks like My Old Man, This Old Dog, Your Old Droog, On the Level, Moonlight on the River, One More Love Song. Just a lot of really emotionally charged tracks on here that hit home. His latest release, Here Comes the Cowboy, is kind of an evolution of that songwriting. It mixed with a lot of like the looser environment, kind of the jingle jangle, whatever he calls it, kind of feel, the floaty feel of his earlier records, Choo and Salad Days. Let's get into it.
Yeah, this album as a whole, I think, is reminiscent of a lot of the high brights and the low darks of This Old Dog, so the polarizing ends. It's very lo-fi in a sense, very simple, composed. He performed all the instruments on this besides some synth work, I think, somewhere on one of these tracks. But yeah, I think for the most part, this is his loosest album to date, and I think it's also one of his best written, actually a great showcase of the character Mac DeMarco, because you can say there are some dumb moments on here, because there's moments like Here Comes the Cowboy, where the only line of the song is, Here comes the cowboy, I got the horses in the back. No, and also Choo Choo.
I liked Choo Choo.
Where I think these moments are stupid. Yes, they're good memes, but I think they also show like and also their songwriting is very simple, and I think a lot of people will find it dumb, but what I enjoy about them is they kind of show this like almost kind of like manic hiding of sorts. I feel like they're trying to just like hide or trying to cover these dark moments, but I also think in a sense that kind of is the goofy side of Mac, and I think it's a good exposure, the well-roundedness. You can look at these tracks and I think you can get at different things of whether Mac's trying to hide its true feelings or the fact that Mac's just wanting to be goofy in a dark time. I think this album's a lot about Mac growing older. It kind of continues the idea of maturing, but it's more about him just kind of getting older and being able to accept his limits and being able to accept his career and not wanting to be this like reckless party boy anymore. It's just kind of coming to terms with himself. Moments like On the Square, where he puts his entire career and his entire legacy in this kind of box, and that's all it means. It's right. Just that box. There's nothing else attached to it. Moments like Nobody, he can't go back to being a nobody. He will always be Mac DeMarco. He will be famous. He will be a somebody. Moments like Kay and Heart to Heart are like touching odes to his girlfriend and showing that he does have limits, and showing that he won't always be an upbeat or a good person, but he's trying. And I think she kind of has to come to acceptance with that, and he has to come to acceptance with himself, which I think is really touching. Moments like Hey Cowgirl are just sweet and stupid, saying, do you wanna come with a city slicker like me? No one gets famous in the dairy aisle, or something along the lines of that. Yeah, All of Our Yesterdays is just this touching moment going about change. Same thing with Little Dog's March. Yeah. I think this thing is heavily based around the idea that Mac is getting older, and it the grime I think helps that a lot. Like the feel of this album works really well for me, and while some people will describe it as just kind of shitty lo-fi, for me I think it kind of builds that kind of like rustiness of Mac, and that feel of getting older, and that feel of aging, and that feel of maturing, and kind of like almost wiping. There's a nostalgic part to it too, almost like wiping dust off of an old photo. I think there's a lot of attributes that the sound actually works, and I think while it is overly simplistic, it actually works well in helping the narrative that it's crafting over this entire record.
Right. It reminds me a lot of, you said kind of rusty. The whole record seems to have like that dusty, kind of just like old beaten road kind of feel to it. Like definitely, Here Comes the Cowboy, while it is like kind of a stupid track, it doesn't really mean anything. It really sets us up for like that thematic structure for the rest of the album. Like it just feels like it is, feels like it's just covered in that like red desert dirt.
Yeah.
Feels like an Old West kind of thing. It puts everything in that context of like very, and like Mac's Canadian, which I think is like not like weird in and of itself, but like the fact that he draws upon so many influences, being a Canadian artist, like that's about as far north as you can go.
Yeah, and also the thing about cowboys and how kind of Mac is kind of like a touring cowboy in a sense, how he is.
He's always on the road.
Yeah, he's just like a not a lone wanderer, but like an outlaw of sorts, kind of traveling from town. What's the word? Wanderer. There's another term for it. I can't think of it.
A nomad.
Nomad. Yeah, that's good. He's just kind of roaming from place to place, and legends are crafted about this one particular cowboy, and I think that's kind of cool, and it kind of fits the setting and the griminess, as you said, in that red dust feel.
Yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed this record. I really liked a lot of the simplistic melodies. Here Comes the Cowboy, like I said, sets up the whole thing, and it is the most simplistic that you can get. It's just 3 minutes of that, and I like kept waiting, like, is he gonna say something else? He just never did. Going on to Nobody, which I think is probably my favorite track on this record.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the most melodically charged, with a lot of really cool like meaning behind it. Going like, you can never be anything than what you are. Even if you are like a one-hit wonder, you're gonna have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Like, people are gonna know who you are in some aspect.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna edit that Wikipedia page. It said, "You smell bad, and you will always be
Smelling bad."
and you can't go back to Nobody." I also, going over Nobody, I just like this feel of the drums, just this one synth and guitar just works incredibly. I was just listening to this track, and just like I like listening to this track on loop and just kind of getting the feel of the overall presence. I just think it's incredible. Choo-Choo's super funky.
It reminds me a lot of like Soul Train.
Yeah.
I feel like I get a lot of Soul Train
I think that's
vibes.
what it's
I think
supposed
that's
to
what
be.
it's supposed to be. Yeah.
And then Bye Baby Bye Bye, with it just like it cutting off, it's stopping, going to another track, being more funkier, being soulful in the beginning, kind of differing these sounds. Even though I think it probably shouldn't be 7 minutes and 29 seconds, it works. I think Mac is undoubtedly himself on that track, and being weird and off kilter, I think works in the amount of starts. The weird heart to heart with the keys and how they reminisce and just I feel like fill up the void of that track, I think are great. Yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say besides I enjoyed this, and this is one of the things I came back to the most over the last couple of weeks, and I don't want to say anything else except for all scores are meaningless and futile, and that at this current moment I think this is an 8+. I really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna give it a better than Fantana.
I don't want to get into a feud, okay? We probably should stop name checking Fantano.
He's not doing nothing.
He's not doing anything. What is he doing? Not eating meat. I was gonna say he was eating meat.
That's what I'm saying. He's not doing anything.
He's not
we don't
eating
say
meat.
like fuck you, but we say like we talked to him, or like we watched this video or something.
Fuck you, Fantano. Please.
That's not from me.
Please sample that in a track. Suicide Boys.
Fantana's not in Suicide
No, he
Boys.
got sampled by Suicide Boys.
No, I know, but he's not a member of Suicide Boys.
No, but Suicide Boys should sample this.
Okay.
I just want to be famous, okay?
Okay.
I want to be a somebody, not a nobody like I currently am.
I want a Wikipedia page.
I want a Wikipedia page that says I smell bad, okay? Wow. This just kind of makes me want to reminisce on how the Common is coming.
I'm gonna give it an iPhone 8.
You just cut off my transition.
I don't care.
God damn it. This review's over now, right?
Yeah.
We're good. Okay.